One of my favorite things, unboxing new stuff. Now today, and I thought I'd share this with my friends, once again, thanks to Amazon, we have a new action camera. Let's roll it out. Now, what I always do is I always wait on Amazon and I watch for the offers of the ones that are going out of style. The first one I bought, thanks to Luciano, was $14. Second one was $40. This one was $49, so I'm really moving up the ranks here. And this one has even more features. And let me explain, one of the advantages of this is by having several cameras, what it allows me to do is put one on the back, one on the front of the motorcycle, one on the side, one on my nose, whatever. Having multiple cameras, always good. I'm hoping, and this one it's another GoPro clone. It's Canpark. I don't even look at the name. They're all made in China. What's different about these, and I'm going to try to go through this a little bit like I did and go through the history of how this evolved into what it is right now. So the history of these cameras, and I'm going to do that later in the video, is I think interesting and fun. And I always like getting a brand new one, and this one's all covered with plastic. I'll take it off later. I wanted to look at it. I want to read the features. They all seem to be clones. They're in a waterproof box. They have the same buttons. And what I'm going to try to show is some of the things I've done over the years that have made these cameras easier to use, easier to mount. And if you have $400 for the latest GoPro, you'll probably get 1% better footage, or you'll get something different. But these, and this one is $49, by the way, and I'll get the name here, Canpark, I don't even know the name, but it's irrelevant. These cameras all seem to work very similar, and they all work good. This thing I always do, since the cameras are so similar, I always look at the accessory pack. Now here's what's funny. Here's the accessory pack. This sells for $23.95. The battery, the spare battery that you buy for the camera is another about $10 or $11 if you buy it from Amazon. Sometimes you get two batteries and a charger for $10. That brings you up to about 35 bucks. And at the end of 35 bucks, if the camera, the first one I bought, the non-Anart, it was $5 for the camera. So now I'm always amazed, and I'll look at, if some of these are usable, some are not. They always have a little cloth for wiping the lens. They always have some kind of thing you can put it around your nose or your neck or something. And each one is a little zip tie. It's just what I need more of. They always have and this is something, if you're going to do motorcycles, it's handy to have. Now let me explain this. Because what I'm trying to do, the purpose of the video, and though obviously nobody's paying me to do this, and we do this just to share information with our friends. This is a back of the camera that allows, with the holes, it's not waterproof now, but it allows more sound to go into it. Now, Luciano, when he first got his Anart, we drilled holes in the back of this so we could do track day footage, and that seemed to work. But some of them, and you never can find the microphone on the camera, so you can, this is always good if you're not going to go scuba diving. Put some holes in the back. This one, they give you one for free. So that's cool too. This is the mount that's really good. Now, I'll show somewhere on this video. I mount this to and I've got dozens of videos. I got over 1,100 videos now on YouTube. What I do, I make a piece that goes in here that attaches to my jacket. So this can just snap onto the jacket. And what it does, I can just snap the camera in and out. But there's a problem with that, and it's a small problem. When it's snapped into this mount, I've noticed it mutes the sound a lot. And I've tried to make up for that and I'll show this right after this piece of footage. By putting slots in, it makes it a little bit better. Anyway, these are all little things you can learn. Now, as Mark Morgan and I both found out, these glue-on pads, they work up to a point. I wouldn't trust my camera, and I don't want the camera flying off and taking somebody's tooth out right behind me. This is a clip. I haven't found this to be what I want, and it mounts to something. And these, we tried many times to use these. They're very, very fragile. If you over-tighten these, they snap. And if they snap when you're riding, now, so they do give you a battery with this. What? They give you two batteries. So for $49, you get $10 worth of batteries. there's probably not one in the camera though. If they did, there'd be three. This is one of the extensions. I want to go through this real quick because I did make a lot of videos on how to make camera mounts. And since I've done all this videotape, and you would think even if I didn't learn a lot, I've learned some key do's and don'ts. The big don't is don't mount it into rubber where it's vibrating. Don't mount it on the end of a handlebar of a two-stroke. And whatever. And the back mount I made for the two-stroke, that vibrated. You've got to kind of mount it solid. Oh, that was always lesson one. But anyway, I want to show this. This is a key thing. A lot of people, you're not going scuba diving, will want to use this mount and how I made it work. And this has turned out to be one of my favorite mounts because one of the things it does, it allows you, and it's pretty simple. You almost feel like you're driving the motorcycle. When it's on your helmet, you feel like you're up on a stepladder looking down at the motorcycle. This, I think, is the best of all the mounts I've made. Now, of course, the camera snaps right out, whether it's the Anart or which one is this? I got to keep track of. This is a Leitao, I think. This is a Leitao. Anyway, I've got them numbered, but it doesn't really matter. And they're all very similar. Now, what I found out is the first one I bought, the $14 one, $14.95. What happened was it didn't have any settings. When you pressed the button, it had no features. It was like an old wire phone. Pick it up, talk, hang it up. The second one, the Leitao, which this is not the Leitao. I think this is the Anart. I don't even know the difference of these because they're so interchangeable. And I'll go through this later. But they're all clones. And I'm not so sure they're that much worse than these real expensive ones for what I'm using it for. But here's what I did. I mounted this to the jacket, and I made these little air holes in the bottom. You can see the air vents that allow the sound to get up into where the camera is. Now, when I had this mounted solid, and I didn't have those air vents in, every time you'd go to download the footage and edit it, you couldn't hear the motor. And one of the things I love about these cameras is hearing the motor. I don't want to hear music, I don't want to hear opera, I don't want to hear Pavarotti. I want to hear the motor, and I want to hear shifting, and I want to hear downshifting and missing shifts and whatever. In fact, one time, this is funny, that we were doing this, and I didn't know how this was going to work, so it was a test. And so what I did, I recorded going through the gears. Came home and I said, "What's wrong with the camera? I don't get the sound." But the sound was like a bumblebee. As soon as I opened up these air vents, and I see the camera that I just bought has air vents in the back that allow the sound to get into the box where the camera is. So this is a good thing, and it mounts to the back like this. You need to have a mount going sideways and a mount going down. Now the reason is, otherwise this does this while you're riding, or it does up and down. So if you put this as a piece of carbon fiber, just scrap carbon fiber, a couple little 440 bolts. You need to have the bolts recessed in this, but that's a really neat way. Now, if you had no other camera mount, this would allow you to record your rides. You could start this up at the beginning of a ride. This camera usually will go about 2 hours. But let me get into what the downside of this is. If you record a whole ride, there's a downside. So I wanted to back this up just a little bit. What had originally happened, I had a flip camera. Flip is no longer in business. And I had the flip camera during the time I was still flying model planes, and I thought, well, I had one of my older planes. We were flying on a frozen lake in Greenwood Lake. I made a little mount for the front of the camera and recorded flying with that flip camera. Now, Flip's out of business, and for all purposes, we could throw the cameras away. Then I went from that, I decided I wanted to try to record my rides. And because I was riding with a club called the Bergen County Sport Bike Club, this was the only camera I had, and it's just a typical Canon. It's nothing special about it. And what I found out with this, you'd make them, and there were no mounts for this. You had to make a mount with a screw and a bolt and a thing around this, and you mount it to your chest or the handlebar. I had various things happen. The one downside of this camera, recorded beautifully. It was easy to turn on and off, and that's a major thing because you usually have gloves on and you go to hit the button. You can't turn the camera, or you turn it on when it's off when it's on, as we all know. There has to be glove usable. So here's the other thing that's with any of these cameras, and I have two of them, two different ones. One thing they are terrible at is wind noise. You would get so much wind noise you couldn't hear the engine. So there was a time I just said, well, we'll abandon that. and I went out, and I think it was Luciano, but I'm not sure. Luciano found these cameras on, and this is just a history of how this evolved, into my video channel that now has 1.5 million hits, and I believe over 3,000 subscribers. So, but how did that happen? How did it evolve? Well, this will give you a little clue and maybe some information, because everybody I know likes to look at the videos on YouTube. They want to see their own rides. And most of all, you want to be able to record your own ride. In the very beginning, I decided I don't want a $100, $200 camera, because these things take a beating. Bugs hit the lenses, and motorcycles in general, they're doing this all day long. So I wanted to do it with cheap cameras. This was $14. Again, it had no features. That was no problem. And I think this is an Anart. Boy, they don't even tell you what company makes them, but it really, as I said before, irrelevant. But that first camera had 0 features. So the second camera was a little bit better. It only had one fault. About a month into using it, it would record in such a way that you could play the video back on here, but when I downloaded it, it didn't come out high def. And I don't have no idea, but for $14 or whatever these cameras were in the beginning, I just bought another camera. And I think this is the Lightdow. Let's see if it is. Yeah, this is the Lightdow, I think. This is the one that's a nuisance to use. Yeah, but now what I learned, a couple of things. I have to shim it in this case, otherwise it rattles around and it picks up that noise. A little shim, a little piece of cardboard, a matchbook cover. It has an annoying case that's annoying. I don't like this case. But what I did, I cut a giant hole in the side so more sound would get in there. A hole in the back, more sound. So I want to hear the engine. And the problem is, maybe I'm not as smart as I should be. That's very possible. I can't tell where this picks up the sound. Maybe the microphone is inside. I don't know. Nobody I know seems to know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, several of my friends have these little clones. Some people are able to get nice footage right away. Some people, like Joe, old Joe, I should say, who, not Joe Roselli, they just refuse to come over here and have me give them a little tutorial, because it is very, very simple. You need a few minutes of tutorial. Luciano's been able to do great track day stuff. I know Glenn has a bunch of these cameras. Mark has a bunch of them. Now, what makes these easy to use, and I think it's a significant thing, I glue on with a drop of epoxy a way that I can turn a camera on and off with a glove. See how that's extended? If you don't, and I don't want to have the buttons here, because what happens, I hit it with my glove while I'm riding, and vibration, and I'm falling off the motorcycle. I hit one of these buttons and it goes into the mode where it goes shopping on YouTube for you. But anyway, so anyway, the whole idea is, this was a good idea. This was the original case, and it didn't have any holes in it. Didn't record the sound. The later one had 2 holes, a little bit better, but the best one is this. This is absolutely the best, and to cut a big hole here, and then you can also download the footage out of here without taking it. This is an annoying case. This is the Lightdow case, annoying. But just to keep everything that it's information based. But altogether here, I don't have $100 worth of stuff, and I've been able to put over 1,100 videos out on YouTube, so you can kind of figure that out. And some of them are actually good. Some of them are fun to watch. I just think that, well, YouTube is a wonderful thing. I find it useful. I've learned how to do hundreds of things from YouTube. Everything from turning off my check engine light to other things that have been very useful. These are some things that I learned along the way. This is critical, is to have these buttons. And there's little rubber washers on both sides. You got to be able to turn them on and off with a glove. And I wear regular, normal motorcycle gloves. They're clumsy. And these buttons, if you don't disable them somehow, many times I've been recording something on a ride or on a track day or something, and hit that button and it goes into the next mode where it's not recording. So disabling these so that I can't do it from outside the camera. In fact, what I did on the one kit, I just took the buttons out. And then if I want to set the camera, I have to take it out. That's a good idea. I made a little mirror. This is a little mirror. Because one of the things that's annoying about some of these clone cameras is they have a little light up here that tells you it's on off, it blinks. You can't tell if it's on or off. And you can't really see it in bright sunlight. So whenever I change it, I try to get into a shady spot and then click. I made a little hood. I found this to be helpful on really, really summer sunny days, not of any value in the winter. A little side hood. and a little piece of a sunglass. And what this does, it on really bright sunny days, it kills some of the glare. Just to go back to the recent thing I just said, I pull those buttons out. They come right out. There's a little circlip inside. You can just pull the buttons and the rubber wash out. Now this protects me. I can't go into crazy mode. And if I want to, I could do it with a toothpick or something. But I don't do it on the road. So I don't need to do it. And if I did, I'd just take it out of the box. The holes are a good thing if you're doing motorcycle or you want to record sound. The more you can cut out of the case, or if you can just mount the camera the way my jacket mount works. And I've, over the years, made many, many mounts. I love to mount the camera down low, up high, on my helmet, my shoulder. I had it on my chest. I like that jacket mount the best. I try to use that on every ride. A couple of things I learned about the batteries they give you. They give you, well, I bought a charger and 2 extra batteries for 11 bucks at one time. So I always have a bucket full of batteries. I had some that I put numbers on, 1, 2, 3, because some seemed stronger, some seemed weaker, and they do last a long time, so it's really not a big deal. But I noticed one thing critical. In cold weather, these batteries get cold on a day when it's cold outside, these batteries last about 1/3 the amount. Another little useful tip. When you get these batteries, put them on a charger, let them go to full charge even if you charge them through the camera. And leave them on charge. Don't leave them discharging. Now, my good friend Carlos Serra, who knows a lot about electronics, he suggested, because of the cold weather in the winter, leaving them on charge like on a battery tender. And they don't use any electricity, so that's what we do. Now, you may find this as funny as I did. Each one of these cameras comes with instructions. They're almost useless. You almost have to figure it out by yourself. This one seems to be a little bit better. At least they tell you where certain things are and, you know, where the buttons are and blah, 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 blah. But none of them have any real good how to use the camera thing. So what I thought is that oh, here's a thing for your wrist too. And they show you what to use. I put this on your bicycle helmet and different things like that. But boy, if you use this with the camera hanging out the side and that suction cup, good luck. And how to turn off this camera has Wi-Fi capability, so I don't even know about it. I'll have to ask Glenn. I'm not interested in Wi-Fi. And what you'll notice something. They do tell you this one is the best of all of them, of all the clones I've got. Anyway, I've got a bunch of them. This is the best one. But just when you think they'd start to get into the details, it's in German. And they do the whole thing in German and French and Swahili and every damn thing. I wish they would make like a real how to use it. But none of the under $100 cameras or under $50 cameras I have any real instructions. But who needs them? I don't. So you figure it out on your own. And for my friends like old Joe, who has a camera, mounted it to his bike, and he couldn't figure out how to use it. Well, this is pretty simple. I want to just show this. Charge the battery. You want to hit this button once. And what will happen is a light will come on this. This is the light now, but it doesn't matter. They're all going to be the same. And then this is telling you that we're ready to shoot footage. I have these buttons disconnected, of course. I hit it once. Now it's blinking. I'm recording. Oh, there goes Luciano around the corner. Oh, he high-sided. Oh. Now, look at this. There goes Windy doing a wheelie, and oh, he fell off the bike. I'm done with it. Now I'm back in standby mode. Now, if I let it run more than a minute or so, and each camera is different, you have to hit it twice, because one time it'll come back up on the screen. So if you're running more than a certain, you got to kind of figure this out. Then you go back to where you've got to hit it twice. Once brings up the screen. When you see the screen, the next time you hit it, it'll be off. Now you're done taking these pictures and you realize you've just set the lap record at Daytona. Now, some of the cameras, and this is one of them, just pressing it does nothing. You've got to hold it. There it is. So there's a completely different command for turning it on. To turn it on, it's on. Holding it changes the mode to where you can cycle through the screens. And the next time you do it, if you just hold it, maybe count to 3. Now, even all of this is good. But now that you've shot some footage, now we get to the hard part. You just took some pictures of setting the lap records of you're going around Pocono or whatever. Now the part that's a little trickier. So I thought I'd just share what I learned about editing video. Because shooting the video is only one part of making something to watch that your friends can watch or you can watch, or preserving your infamy or whatever your personal need is. But you've shot video. Now, here's what the problem is. You go out on a ride, you shoot what I used to do in the very beginning, and this I'll do this step by step because this is a very simple way to do it. I would shoot the ride, leave in my driveway, and drive up maybe an hour. Have one video file, a giant video file, and then I would just upload it to YouTube. And you can do that. Some people are restricted to under 15 minutes, but you can get rid of that restriction just by asking them. And then you can go probably to, I don't know, I never do more than an hour, so I don't know. But you can just take one file. And a lot of people do that, but the problem is it's boring. You're looking at somebody and they're going, what the hell's he doing? You know what? Come on, get on the gas or whatever. So that's one. As the first initial step, I would suggest you bought your GoPro clone or your GoPro or whatever. Shoot a 15-minute file, less than 15 minutes. Upload it to YouTube. Boom, you're done. Now, number 2, right on YouTube. It's right on the site itself. There's an edit program you can access for free. That's one of the good things. It's free. It's super, super easy to use, and there's plenty of tutorials of how to use it. I actually learned how to edit on this free little program. It took me, I shouldn't say because it's embarrassing, but it took me a couple days to get comfortable with it, that I was happy. Well, this is now okay. Then my friend John Pothier in California, he did some research for me, and we found a program called Filmora. That's a few bucks to download, and he did all the research. He practiced with it, and he gave me lessons. So from the Filmora program, now, this is a basic program. You can add music, you can edit, you can make titles, whatever. But the Filmora program has a basic and an advanced. So if you purchase the program, you can do basic editing in a matter of 15 minutes. The advanced version, I'm still working on 5 years later. But the advanced version has a million features, and you can put things, night vision goggles around things and everything, things you never even use. But this is what happened to me. Now, at the end of all of these, if I combine this whole thing together, what I've been able to do, I think we got a little over 1,100 videos out there now. But obviously a year from now, if you're watching this, there'll be 1,400 or whatever. We basically put out a video every day. I enjoy shooting the video. I enjoy the editing. It's kind of a hobby. It's free. I'm not looking to make any money. I'm not looking to advertise peanut butter or something on my website. It's as simple as can be. And I never, ever look to see if people like the videos or don't. I know people do this. Oh, I got a lot of likes. I got a lot of hits. I put them out there. If you enjoyed them, great. If you don't, hey, there's that button that I love. The delete button. I'm not sure a lot of people didn't delete the video either, but this is basically how I learned to edit, how I got up to this point. And I had thought at one time I was going to make a little tutorial, but then I thought, there's plenty out on YouTube already. And I don't want to replicate things that are already on YouTube. I'm trying to add my knowledge base, because I have learned so much from YouTube, it's unbelievable. And I was just talking to Glenn the other day about how many things we've learned from YouTube. It's just amazing. And I have no interest at all in regular TV about watching sitcoms and canned laughter and the nonsense that's on TV. I'd much rather watch YouTube. So I hope you enjoyed our little video or unboxing and what I've learned about these GoPro clones. Again, I am convinced These do the job that I'd be very happy to share. They allowed me to put all these videos out there. Some of them I know people have enjoyed, some they're bored. It doesn't matter, you can't please all the people all the time, but if you enjoy shooting video and you enjoy learning how to edit, get one of these under $50 cameras from Amazon and have a ball. And I hope this gave you some thoughts how you can make it even more enjoyable. Keep it fun. Anyway, I hope you got some information you could use, and thanks for watching.